Welcome to the Engineerable channel, another episode of What's in the Box? I'm going to be taking a closer look at this HYDRAX gel blaster that Gel Zone has just released. Gel Zone claims that the HYDRAX can shoot up to 7 beats per second and up to 160 FPS. So let's check out what's in the box! If this is your first gel blaster, make sure you read the instructions so you know how to do everything correctly. You want to make sure that they're fully submerged in water even after they're fully hydrated. And if you're still having difficulties with them not growing large enough, you need to use distilled water because your tap water may be hard, has minerals in it, and it doesn't allow the gel balls to grow to their final size. The other main thing to keep a note of is when you're charging, that the red light will turn on and the green light will blink. That means this battery's charging. And when the red light goes off and the green light turns on continuously, that means the battery is fully charged. If you only see a red light on or a red light flashing when it's charging, that means your battery is bad and it needs to be replaced. I'm going to go ahead and pull out everything and lay down on the table. Here's everything that the Gel Zone HYDRAX comes with. Gel Zone is the same company that makes the Hydro Strike PULSAR PRO. So it's the same products, it's just a different appearance and a different name. It's by the makers of Dart Zone that are also well known in the foam flinging arena, and the parent company is Primetime. I think that Gel Zone is going to be their target brand, and Hydro Strike is going to be their Walmart and other places brand. So this blaster comes with 10,000 rounds of ammo. Each packet has 500 rounds, so that means there's 20 packets. And these 500 rounds are designed to perfectly fill up one of these pouches. So you tear open one of these gel bead packets, pour it in the pouch, fill it up with water, and let it grow for 4 hours. So you want the gel balls to be fully submerged in water like this, even after 4 hours. But the tricky part is, how do you drain the water out completely such that you're not just pouring water into the blaster when you're loading it? They should include some kind of strainer cap so you can drain out all the water very easily. One of these packets of 500 rounds is exactly what the hopper holds. So you're probably going to want to grow more than one of these packets at a time because you're going to blow through 500 rounds pretty quick. It comes with a pair of safety glasses, which are pretty decent glasses. They have really wide coverage. They look pretty well made, not bad. I always highly recommend getting a pair of good goggles like the Revision Locust military goggles. You can find those on surplus a lot of times for like $15, $20. They're very inexpensive, and they have very good coverage and they tend not to fog, which is also important. And there's the lithium-ion battery. This battery is huge. It's 7.4 volts, 1800 milliamp hour. This is unheard of for pistol-sized gel blasters like this. Most pistol-sized gel blasters like the Gel Blaster Surge have about a 500 milliamp hour battery. So this battery is about 3.5 times the size of that Gel Blaster Surge. So that means that this blaster should be able to shoot for about 3.5 times as long as a Gel Blaster Surge before you run out of power and have to recharge. Another nice thing about this battery is that it comes with very high quality cables. These wires seem like they are silicone coated, and they have an XT30 connector on the end, which is a much better connector than the measly connectors that come with the other gel blasters. So not only is the gauge of this wire larger in diameter than most of the other gel blaster batteries like the Splatterball battery, for example, or the Unlocks, but the connector is also much better. This is an XT30 connector. This is rated for, I believe, 30 amps, which is the 30 in XT30. And so this is a very good quality connector that's often used with RC equipment. This connector is like a JST connector, and it's not designed for high current. It's something like a 3 amp rating or something like that. These motors can pull more than 3 amps, so this is a much higher quality cable and connector system here than you're going to see in these other blasters of comparable prices. The charger is still the same generic USB charger for lithium-ion batteries with an output of 7.4 volts and 1000 milliamps. So at that rate, this charger should take less than 2 hours to recharge this battery. The connector is still a 3-pin connector that connects into the 3-pin connector with the 3 wires going to the battery for balancing the cells. The easiest way to put this battery in after you plugged it in is probably to do it like this, where you leave the connector and stuff on the side here. And that leaves a lot of space, and you can close the battery cover on the bottom. It is a super nice feature of a pistol-sized blaster that the battery is user replaceable. There's several blasters out there that don't have a user replaceable battery, which means once the battery dies, then it's toast. You can't do anything with it without taking it apart and modding it yourself, which not a lot of people are going to do. But if the battery fails on this blaster, then you can just buy a replacement battery and keep blasting away. Now I do struggle with this battery door a little bit. It has a tendency to slide all the way out, and then it's a little bit difficult to pop back in place once it's slid all the way out. I think they could improve the design of that a little bit. I think it's only meant to slide out about this far, then you can pull the battery out, change the battery, but it does have a tendency to slide all the way off, and then it's kind of hard to get back in there. The HYDRAX blaster has a very cool design. It totally fits in with NERF style toys, and people are going to assume it's like a foam dart toy or a water blaster. The hand grip is quite large, fits my hand very well, but then again I have a large hand, so for smaller hands it might not work as well, but this is rated for 14 plus, it should be just fine. It has a nice foregrip here for your other hand. There's this attachment point on the back for hanging from a sling. Unlike most other gravity-fed pistol blasters, this one has an integrated hopper. So the hopper is not this bulbous thing sticking out above it that looks ridiculous. The downside to the integrated hopper is that it only holds 500 gel balls. One of these hoppers easily holds about 800 gel balls. Another downside too is you can't just easily swap out the hoppers to reload. You have to take the whole blaster, open this up, and then pour your gel balls into here to reload it. But overall, I really like the clean appearance of this without the hopper extending out the top. One thing that's interesting is when you fire, there's a little agitator here which looks like it flicks the gel balls up a little bit and agitates them so that it feeds better. This hopper has some pretty generous angles that are going to feed the gel balls down into the barrel. However, once you start to run low on gel beads, you won't be able to tilt the blaster down too far or up too far, because then the gel balls are going to roll back or forwards and they won't be feeding properly. And then in my experience with this type of blasters, when you get really low on ammo, the balls are going to bounce around all over the place. But we'll see with that agitator what it does. It seems like it would make it worse. We're going to test it and check that out to see how well it feeds. It doesn't have a separate power switch. It only has this fire and safety switch here. So the safety switch appears to actually be a power switch because it's not blocking the trigger. And then when you put it on fire, it's only full auto. So what they say in the instructions is that if you want to shoot single fire, then you just tap the trigger. Which when you do that, it's actually quite responsive and it shoots as soon as you pull the trigger. There's no delay in single shots like there are with some other blasters. The safety and fire switch is accessible from both sides, so you can switch on the right side or the left side. The instructions say that there is an overheat sensor both inside the battery and inside the blaster itself. So if you were to, for example, hold full auto for too long and it got too hot, the motor will shut itself down or the battery will shut itself down depending on whichever one got hot. So it's good to have those safety features built in. This might prevent people from holding full auto down for too long and burning up the gearbox or something. So far this looks like it's going to be a pretty awesome blaster. I'll be doing some tests of the velocity, accuracy, going to be tearing it down at some point, checking out what's inside, how it's made. I'm also planning to do a tracer mod on this to shoot glow-in-the-dark gel balls like I do with a lot of my blasters, because nighttime play with glow tracers is amazing! So make sure you keep an eye out for my future videos.